Happy Thursday, Gordon here with another Tech Time with Gordon. Today I'm going to continue in regards to dealing with, uh, I guess, some woes in regards to the computers. So I was talking about internet security last week. If you haven't checked it out, I would definitely recommend that you hop on over to the previous video and check it out. We're going to go into more details into one topic that I didn't include, which is called phishing, and explain that in detail and explain the different types of different phishing that's out there. So what phishing is, well, it's not our regular phishing. You can see by how it's spelled. This one is basically a fraudulent attempt to obtain information from ourselves. So this is valuable data that can be, our username, password, our credit card information. And how they're going to do this is they're going to disguise themselves as someone trustworthy in some form of electronic communication to get you to provide them that information. So, in a way, it is phishing. These hackers or, bad people or, fraudsters, they are the fishermen. They are providing a lure and we are the fish. So I'm going to go into detail explaining, the different forms of phishing, um, the signs, so what we should be looking for, and, how to deal with it. So the first one I'm going to talk about is deceptive phishing. So these fraudsters impersonate, a legitimate company in order to attempt to steal your personal data and even login credentials. Signs that this might be the case: the email is going to be short and brief, so it's going to be very minimum. So usually they're going to try to use panic to try to force you to do something quickly. So, the sign could be someone has attempted to steal or has removed $5,000 from your bank account. Please confirm your identity. It can be something as we have seen you have a virus on your computer. This is Microsoft. Please click the link below in order to allow us to fix the problem. Um, these read basically in regards to the links, they're either going to be shortened to hide the information, but generally these links are going to redirect to something that is nefarious. So, for most of these deceptive phishing, they're going to have some sort of link. The branding's going to seem off. So, whether it's the color, maybe it's not exactly the right, they're using an old Walmart logo or something like that. Something is off. So, when you're dealing with this, you want to carefully inspect that URL. You can hover over and see where it's actually going to redirect you to. Uh, Again, with a short and brief, there's going to be generally spelling errors or mistakes. It's going to seem very odd to you. When you see this, of course, the best way to deal with it is to contact that company, a legitimate company. Don't use the information that the email is providing you. Go to their website, or find a phone number, give them a call, and then just you know, provide them the information and say, look, I've received this email. Can you let me know if this is legitimate? And generally, they're going to say, yes, this is fake. This is, again, deceptive phishing. So the next one we're going to talk about is phishing. So this is a type of phishing attack, but instead of being carried out in an email, this is going to be placed as a phone call. We're all kind of familiar with telemarketers. This is kind of the same gimmick. However, the information that they're going to give, they're going to be using it for more nefarious means. In regards to how to identify this, they're going to pretend that they are with a legitimate company. They might claim that they're a part of the bank. Um, they might they might pretend a few different things. They're going to try to either speak in technical jargon to kind of make it harder to understand what they're trying to get. They might be speaking really fast. They might, again, try to use that emergency or panic mode, trying to get you to, again, get that information. And generally, they're going to use a form of ID spoofing. So, when I look at the phone, it might even say the bank or that company or whoever, but they are using technology to fool your phone. So, how to deal with this is basically if they are not using ID spoofing and if it's an unknown caller, sometimes it's better to avoid those kind of numbers. You never give out personal information over the phone to someone who's calling you. An example of this that I commonly see is they'll call and say that they are the bank. The number looks like it says T, like for me, it looks like TD. And they say, well, there's been some unusual activity. It looks like $5,000 has been removed from your account. Just to confirm your number, they give me the first few digits of my card. They won't know the last few digits. They're going to ask that from me to verify that I'm the card holder, and that's the information that they want. That's the phishing or phishing technique is they're trying to pull that out of me. And the best thing too is, again, if they are acting like a legitimate company, you can say, I'm not going to deal with it right now, hang up with them, and then phone the number that you are familiar with, or go to your bank and say, I got this weird call, but, don't say, can you transfer me to blah, 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 because they're going to have that. So you want to make sure that you're dealing with the customer reps that you know, or again, that number that is on their legitimate website to kind of prevent being caught in one of these phishing exploits. So the next we're going to deal with smishing. So I'm sure that you're going to recognize that there's a trend. This one involves text messages. So it's a phishing attack, but it's going to be sent on our smart device, and it's going to be in the form of a text message. So again, they're going to mimic known companies. They're going to say, again, they're maybe the bank. They are maybe your internet provider, your phone lines, whatever. They're going to pretend that they're there. They're going to provide you a link. And in my previous video, I mentioned how if you're not sure of a link, you don't want to click on it because it can lead to harmful things. They might even instruct you to reach out to them by calling this number that they've supplied. And again, the concept will be that they're going to try to get information out of us about that related product. So what we can do to deal with this, you can figure out where that number is coming from. You can go online, and there are a lot of websites out there that by putting that number, can identify it as not with that company. Will tell you that it's potentially dangerous. Without a doubt, contact that legitimate company. Again, don't use that number that they've provided you. Go onto their website, official website, find that number and call and say, I've received this weird text message. I just want to confirm that it's legitimate or not. So the next one we're going to deal with is farming. So basically this is using malicious code, and it can be installed on your computer. So this again could be like malware, and it's going to be designed to redirect us to a faulty website. Now this could also take place as an email where it basically says go to this website. It says, for example, www.tdbank.com. Looks legit, but when you actually hover over it, it's going to be redirecting. It's going to send us somewhere completely different from what it's actually saying on that link. When it comes down to this, the fake website's going to mimic, some kind of company, some kind of organization where it's going to try to get us to put information in. And when we put that information in, it's going to copy that information. Now it has all our account information. Again, they're going to be providing these links to try to get us to this fraudulent website. You'll find that even when you put in your information, when you hit that login, you're probably going to receive some sort of error. asking you to even contact their technical support so that they can confirm and take that information from you. So when it comes down to these hoax websites, the biggest thing you're looking for is spelling mistakes, or the logo might look, or the colors are going to look off. Something's not going to look right on this website, and it's going to be not. Sometimes it can be easy to identify, sometimes not so much. But you want to just look through the website just to make sure that you are exactly where it says it's going to be. When it comes down to those links, especially if it was provided to you by email, hovering over it will give you an accuracy or an idea of where it's going to be trying to send you to. And without a doubt, um, if you get onto a site that doesn't look like it's 100% accurate, close it down, maybe even restart your computer, start the browser up again, and type in the website or even search for that company website. Or better yet, contact them. You could probably go to that organization and say, what is your website? And then put that in so you are going to the right websites. So when it comes to phishing, these are other tips that I would suggest, you think about it. So the first one, think before you click. If the email or the text message or the phone message seems strange, are you even a part of that organization? I receive some emails from companies that I'm not even affiliated with, and they're like, your account has been jeopardized. I don't even have an account with them. So, if it doesn't make sense to you, don't interact with it. Verify the site security. So, see if it has that HTTPS, see what security protocols are there. Um, you know, Go online, just double check that web address, see if that's actually the web address you should be going to. When you're dealing with stuff, it's good to check your online banking regularly just to make sure that there's no fraudulent attempts if you have accidentally given out information. Keep your browser up to date, so keep information up to date so that they can help avoid sometimes phishing exploits. Use firewalls to prevent someone from gaining access to your account or device. Be wary of pop-ups, so be wary or even avoid them altogether. If you see a pop-up, don't interact with it. It's easier to close the browser and start from scratch instead of trying to click on it. In my previous video, I even mentioned sometimes when you click the X, it can actually be a link to somewhere else. So it's better just to close the browser and start anew. Never give out personal information. If it's not necessary, you know, if again that concept of your bank calls you and says that you're in jeopardy and I need that information now, I understand that there's that reaction to, get it resolved right away, but it's better to, instead of getting that personal information over the phone, just to go, I'm going to go to my bank today. I'm going to deal with it with the teller or the bank that I'm familiar with. I'm not going to deal with it with a stranger on the phone. Use antivirus software. Sometimes this will help or detect that there's something fishy about it or something trying to get in. But yeah, when in doubt, think before you click is number one. In conclusion, phishing is something that we should be all familiar with. It happens far too often, whether again it's that email to that phone message, even to texting nowadays. We see this almost on a regular basis. So just to be aware of what these things are, what they are trying to do. They are again trying to take information from us that they can use, whether it be personal information about ourselves, to that your passwords, to your banking information. You know, they're going to try to steal it, and then they're going to try to use it against us. So really, by identifying what they are, some commonalities with them and some tips and tricks and how to deal with it. Like the biggest thing is for most of them, again, they're going to be posing as legitimate companies. How do we combat them? Well, with most of them, I just said, you can reach out to that company and just verify that this is legitimate. So, when in doubt, hang up or delete that message or, put that aside and then reach out to the legitimate company and say, I've received these strange emails or I've received these strange phone calls. Can you let me know if they're legitimate? And then with that, we are going to be better prepared when dealing with the eventuality that we are going to receive some kind of phishing exploit. So that concludes today. Hopefully everyone learned a thing or two. I'll see everyone next week. Bye for now.